Today on the channel, we've got one of the more maligned figures of 2024, yet he's a necessary figure. We've got core class Steeljaw on Way I Got It Figured.
The way I got it figured.
What's up, figure fans? Way I Got It Figured, back with another Transformers Studio Series 86 review. This time we're looking at Steeljaw from Transformers the movie. And this figure has been more or less critically panned all over the place. I don't think I've seen anybody say anything positive about it, yet it's an extremely difficult figure to find. They all sold out immediately. People bought extra copies, yet suddenly they hate it. I only bought the one copy because we're getting Ramhorn next year, even though he's being released yet again with Perceptor, which is kind of ironic, interesting. But we'll talk about that here in a bit. So, Steeljaw, 1986, Transformers the movie. One of Blaster's cassettes, which he unleashed in the Battle of Autobot City against Soundwave's cassettes, who were trying to destroy the communication center, where Blaster had been ordered to contact Optimus Prime by Ultra Magnus. And Steeljaw also had some roles in the third season of Transformers. He certainly was on 2 or 3 episodes that I can remember, and seemed to be at least a decently represented character on the show. So he's a core class figure. In fact, he's essentially the last core class figure. Core class is going away as a SKU, but Hasbro has assured us that we're going to still, in a sense, get core class figures worked in. And testament to that is the fact that Ramhorn's going to be coming with Perceptor next year, as I already mentioned. I personally enjoyed the core class line, particularly the characters that are essentially in-scale characters. So we're talking about your Spike Witwickies, your Rat Traps, your Rumble Frenzies, your Steeljaw. Those were what I liked core class to be, ideally for me. Didn't so much get into the small versions of main characters, unless I had an ulterior motive. But these were what I wanted to add, actually to my collection. So starting off with Steeljaw's package, we're going to look at that. And it is the typical Transformers Studio Series 86 packaging. You got Steeljaw, look like he's attacking somebody in the communications array. And you can see he's got the speaker for Blaster. He's sitting in there. And there's a little baggie in there too. Got your side art for Steeljaw, which is, as usual, by Marcelo Mater. Got your Steeljaw leaping render there. And then you got him on the back. And he converts in 6 steps. So we're going to take a look at Steeljaw out of the package and see what we got. Alright, so we got Steeljaw out of the package. He comes in cassette mode. He does come with instructions. Mine that fell on the floor without me knowing it. I don't think I need instructions to transform him though. It's pretty straightforward. But he does come with a couple of things. I believe this is like a mount or something for the speaker. It is indeed a mount for the speaker. It's got a peg, so it won't stay on there like that, but There you go. And then his wing section, little guns that go on his back and his tail are here. So we know he's a parts former. I don't care about that, but a lot of people do. And this is his cassette mode, which is definitely somewhat of a weird cassette half measure. Only this part is painted, but he has a matching part there. Don't know how I feel about that. And then the other side. But, you know, he basically is a little square. So we're going to get him transformed and check him out there. Alright, so before anything else, we should see how Steeljaw fits inside Blaster's chest. And he does. And he closes up in there fine. So one of the complaints that I've seen is that he barely fits in there. Now, does his little spring-loaded door want to open? Not that easily, but he fits in there just fine. There he is. He's in, he's out. And you can do it either way. So he fits just fine. So there's that little bit of interaction with Blaster. Alright, so we got Steeljaw out and in robot mode or lion mode. He's still a robot, regardless of whether he's a lion or not. And, you know, he looks pretty decent. His transformation is pretty simple. It's not anything to write home about. And I can see a little bit of the gripe, you know, for $10 or whatever. Is he really superior to Rewind and Eject? Your mileage may vary, but I actually do think he is. I mean, he's got a lot more twists and turns to him than they do. These are just really basic figures that come with figures. And he's kind of his own thing. No, he's not the best. He is very simple, but for a cassette-sized Transformer, he's about as complicated as it's going to get without being a masterpiece figure. So I really don't know what people expect, but for a generation's scale, Steeljaw, I mean, I think it's just the best that you're gonna get. You know, if you're mad about the parts forming or whatever, I guess I could see that, but honestly, that just doesn't bother me. I just think that whatever makes the robot is what should work, if it's parts forming or not. Now we could quibble on whether this is the best representation of Steeljaw, and I certainly am not going to say that. You know, if he had more articulated legs and everything, that certainly would be better. If he had more articulated legs and everything, that certainly would be better. But it's a core class figure that isn't really going to have a whole lot of use. I mean, he's really going to stand there if he's not in Blaster's chest. So there's that. Is it the best? No. Is it the worst? No. So we're going to stick the speaker on. And then he's got the speaker action there. And then of course you got the other part of that speaker. We'll go ahead and stick that back on. Here is Blaster with the speaker on his hand. Of course we have to wait for the second one with ram horn. But that's how it works. You just kind of just stick it on there. And there you go. So now we're going to do some quick comparisons with Steeljaw. Be right back. Alright, so we've got blaster with all of his cassettes. And this is the Kingdom blaster. I do have the Studio Series 86 blaster, which I did do a video on. But I felt like the opaque rewind, the opaque eject isn't going to look right with the non-opaque rewind, so I'm just keeping it consistent. But you know, it looked good. Of course, I've got my Legends ram horn here, and he will do until the new one comes out. So there you go. We're gonna get these guys out of here and move on to final thoughts. Final thoughts on Transformers Studio Series 86 Core Class Steeljaw. I think it's a cool little guy. It's not great. I just don't think it's horrible. Like, people have, you know, I mean, they're like, oh, it's trash, it's junk, and all that kind of stuff. I just think that, you know, the guys that work on these toys, nobody's out here trying to put out toys that are just garbage. And so crapping on the work of the designers just doesn't seem like a good look to me. I mean, I know people, we all have our opinion. You're totally entitled to your opinion. But I think that this figure meets the needs of more or less what you're going to do with it anyway. Are there better core class figures? Sure. I like Spike Wiggy better. Probably like Wheelie better. But I'm not unhappy with the figure. I just don't think it's the best. And they're not all going to be the best. So to get everybody in Transformers the movie and for them to have interaction with the current blaster figure that they're selling, it's going to do what it needs to do. With that in mind, I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. So that's a pretty low rank for me. It's basic, but it's also a required character. So here we go. Steeljaw gets a 7 out of 10. So we're rolling through with these Studio Series 86 reviews. I wanted to get them all in. We've got Optimus Prime and Leader Class Springer to go, and they will all be up before the end of the year. So stay tuned for that. Till next time, everybody stay safe. Have a happy Christmas Eve. Peace.
The way I got it figured.